Hello, Mr. Verano. This is my novel project. Not gonna lie, the first time when I recorded this, it was way too long. And it wouldn't attach to the email. Um, this is just gonna be a rerun of what I said, but a little bit shorter and like compressed. So, I read the book Finding Me by Viola Davis, and starting off who Viola Davis is an American actress. She's from St. Matthews, South Carolina. She is currently 56 years old, and she has the 4 major entertainment awards in North America: an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. There's 4 main highlights and key points I thought were very that should be mentioned in her book. So the first one is going to be her childhood trauma. Viola Davis, in elementary school, what is it? After she would get off from school, she would always have to walk home, but instead she was running to home because these little boys and girls who were white would chase her, call her names, call her slurs, and throw rocks at her. And that is just very sad. That's so sad because, instead of saying, I had a good day to her mom or whatever, she instead had to say, almost every single day, they kept chasing me. And no kid should experience that because that's just really sad, and I wouldn't want to go through that. And another thing is, she had a urination problem almost until her teenage years. There was an event in school where she had peed in the middle of a class in this little desk that she sat in every day. And she didn't have a change of clothes, so the principal at her school knew her situation, which she was born on a plantation. Her family was very in poverty and very poor because they didn't have a lot of money, and so due to that, her principal knew her situation, and basically she had a little girl who went to the same school as Viola. And so whenever her little girl was too big, she ended up passing down the clothes to Viola, which is a very rare thing to see people nowadays do. But her principal would give her a new change of clothes, and then the next day she came back and none of the janitors had cleaned up the pee in her desk. And I think the teacher even had moved the desk to the back of the room. And that is just so sad and so embarrassing to deal with a urination problem, especially at that young of an age, because you don't know what to do, and or what to think of how to solve this. It just comes as you get older. Another highlight is her apartment called 128. She called it 128 because throughout the whole book, because that was the apartment number. This apartment was rat infested. It did not have gas. It did not have heat. It didn't even have water so that the way they could clean themselves, shower, or even wash their clothes. It was rat infested. So I remember in the book and seeing the documentary between her and Oprah that these rats would chew off the faces of her dolls. And once they one time in the middle of the night, she said in the book was that it was so bad of that so many rats were in there, she couldn't even sleep, so she had to move somewhere else in the apartment. She wet the bed until her teens, like how I said previous, and she was a bedwetter. Her mom didn't really address this and try to fix it, so that's really hard. And just I feel for her because I used to have that too, but it's so sad to see already how much Viola was already put through at such a young age. The next topic I want to go over is her sexual abuse as such a young kid. At the age of 2, she was at a birthday party with her. It was like her friend or whatever. And you know, there's kids around, there's drunk people around. You know, the kids are playing, and then next you know it, Viola was running, and this drunk guy would chase like the kids, and then he picked up Viola, lifted up her skirt, and sexually assaulted her. And then another incident where Viola and her sisters were sexually abused or assaulted, my bad, by their brother. That's such a hard thing to deal with and grow up with, especially when it's a family member and even a stranger. I honestly wouldn't know how to cope with that because that's just so traumatic, and that would like mess up my entire like life, or and like would make me like rethink of how to trust people. The next is family drama / issues. I can really relate to the family issues she addressed in her book, which was her father was cheating on her mother for a while, and her father took Viola to the girl's house. That is very traumatic and sad to see, because as I read it, as I was reading this book, I did not know what to think and what this book would be about, you know, because it's a memoir. And I didn't really think certain issues that I could relate. So it's very much hard, like sad to see that so many people in the U.S. have the same problems, especially within the family. And it's so easy now to relate to someone once they open up after they had shared these experiences. Some quotes that I have on here on my computer is this first quote: "I knew my life would be a fight, and I realized this. I had it in me. Everything will be a fight." As I read that quote, I realized how much it applies to me and my life, because, you know, being a colored woman that identifies as a lesbian is not everything is gonna be easy. Everything is an obstacle course for me, so I really relate to that too. My second quote is: "My biggest discovery that you can literally recreate your life. You can redefine it. You don't have to live in the past. I found that not only did I have fight in me, I had love." Lately, I've been in a stage in my life where I have been reliving the past and wishing I could go back to the past. So once I read that quote, I realized I can't go back to the past. I should not rely back onto the past, but focus on now and change it, you know? So that these two quotes really hit home for me and made me like kind of realize things, of how I need to look at things instead of like taking out anger and all this other crap to deal with emotions. But yeah, this is my podcast. My podcast name is Izzy Speaks. I was gonna do Izzy E Speaks, but yeah. But this is my novel project, Miss Verona. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions about the book, or if you want to borrow the book, I will be happy to let you borrow the book.